Welcome back. We're in chapter 13. We're in unit number 4. Now, we've looked at the individual, what it's supposed to look like as a Christian, as we present ourselves as living sacrifices. We start in the church, how we're supposed to be as we're sober-minded, humble, using our gifts and talents for the betterment of the body. We looked at what we're supposed to do to those people around us who love us with a sincere love, and those who are our enemies and persecute us, and how we're supposed to behave with them. Now the question is how we're supposed to be good citizens. This is a little controversial because people don't like to submit to authority, but being a Christian is all about submission. And so look what it says in verse 13. It says, everyone must submit himself to the governing authorities. But there's a reason why he says that. And like I said, no one submits to parents, no one submits to teachers, no one submits to police, no one submits. Everyone knows what they want, knows their truth. We're living in a really postmodern age that we think that all authority is power play, and that it shouldn't be trusted. Look what it says here. It says, for there is no authority except which God has established. Now, if we believe that God is a sovereign king who is in control of the plan of the universe and has planned everything, then there's no authority that has not been established by who? God himself. Now, the authorities that exist have been established by God. Consequently, he who rebels against the authority is rebelling against what God has instituted, and those who do so will bring judgment upon themselves. So he's really taking a position. Now, remember, Paul dies in Rome under a vicious Roman rule. And he still says to submit to it. Peter does the same thing. He says submit to the authorities, and he was killed by Nero. And so he's telling this to a people who are suffering, who are people who are persecuted, and he's saying, listen, it doesn't matter. And remember, we don't live, or we are not conformed to the ways of this world. We live differently. And so he says, remember about this, all right? Rulers hold no terror for those who do right, but for those who do wrong. And this is the job of the government. The government is called to protect the innocent and punish the wrongdoer. And so if you have a problem, let's say you don't wear your uniform correctly, all right? Will you have a problem with Mr. Myra? Yes. But if you wear your uniform correctly, will you have a problem with Mr. Myra? No, he's not even going to see you. But those who break the law, those who are the ones who government is for. It says, then do what is right and he will commend you. For he is God's servant, the government is to do good. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for he does not bear the sword for nothing. Now we believe that the government has the right of the sword, which is the right to have a police, to have a army, and also to exercise prison systems and capital punishment, because the government has the obligation to protect the innocent and to punish the evildoer. He is God's servant, an agent of wrath to bring punishment on the wrongdoer. Therefore, it is necessary to submit to authorities, not only because of possible punishment, but because of conscience. And this is not popular either, but it says in verse 6, this is also why you pay taxes. For the authorities are God's servants who give their full time to governing. Give everyone what you owe to him. If you owe taxes, pay taxes. If revenue, then revenue. If respect, then respect. Then honor. Honor, then honor. I think we've fallen into a situation that we don't honor or respect anyone. I don't know if you remember, there was a president named FDR. FDR had polio and he was in a wheelchair. The media never took a picture of him in his wheelchair. They always took him up, either the bust or when they propped him up standing, because they did not want to make him look foolish or weak in front of the world. But today, if you look at the Saturday Night Live, for example, before it was political satire, but now they just make fun of hair or ears or being dumb or being stupid. And whether you like it or not, and whether you like your president or not, it's the president of the United States. And if you respect him, it says, do respect and you respect. Revenue, respect, honor is honor. And so I think we're really called as Christians to honor the position of president, not necessarily the person. You can be in disagreement. Now, I do want to say this. You submit to the government until the government asks two things of you. And these are the only two reasons why you shouldn't submit to the government. If the government asks you to do something that the Bible forbids, then don't do it. Or if the government forbids you to do something the Bible tells you to do, then you can ignore it. Because remember, we fear God and honor King. So those were the two reasons. But if he asks you to pay taxes, because that's how government runs. And this gives us an idea of being part of the solution and not being part of the problem. If you have a problem with a teacher, should you just be a rebellious person in the classroom? Probably not. There are ways of talking to that teacher that you can go to the principal, you can go to the superintendent, you can use voting, you can use protest, you can use this, peaceful protest of course, to change things by the law that the law is given to you. All right. But to take up arms and to rebel or to make life miserable for another person is not what he's saying here as we submit to authorities. Answer the questions. We'll come back with the next part of submission to authorities and why we're going to do so.